just take the opportunity to show you how I test materials with students here, just so you get a feel for it, and sometimes it's a bit better to see this stuff on video. So basically I do 4 tests. The first one is I take the whole class outside and we just drop the different materials to see what happens. So I've got mine cut up in 2 different sort of shapes. I've tried to do them as similar as possible, but here's my 5 materials here, and you can see that the shape is about the same size. These ones are the brick ones that I've put in the information down below. So that's basically what I've done there. These have been dropped quite a few times and they're all been fine. I get one kid to go up to the top, drop it, and then everyone else, one for each of these, and then basically just time what the scores are. And I'm doing the same thing here. So these are just a lot thinner. So a lot of times when kids build stuff, they'll try and build a parachute or whatever. This will give them some kind of insight into, what materials they should use, what will work, what won't work, what happens when it hits the ground, etc., etc. Alright, the second test is this one. This is the impact test, and I use this little jig here. Basically, it's just, this is like a casing here, and I've got a bit of steel with a sharp, well, it's not even sharp, but just a point at the end there, and that sits in there. And then when we want to run it, we pull the thing out. It's a good way, so it's relatively safe as long as kids have their hands up here and there's no one else touching. It's all good. Usually get people to wear their goggles when they're doing this. And how I set it up is just something like this. So I get 2 pieces of wood. Here we are, 2 pieces of wood. I grab whatever I want to hit. I make sure that there's nothing underneath, otherwise I don't think your testing will be as good, because you're kind of testing the strength of whatever's underneath too, and then just let it go. And for us we'll see that snapped, but the kids will learn and then they write down on their sheet exactly what happened. I just do it visually, I don't mark it. That's basically how I go. Just make sure that it's only one student at a time. That's the only thing really, the only problem I have. A lot of kids trying to jump on it at once. So that's that test, and they basically just write it down, and even if a few of them are watching, they can write it down too. Not everyone has to do it. Alright. Okay, so this is the bending resistance test. I'll just quickly show you what it's like. I usually set up the table something like this with just all the material there that I'm using, and I'll set up the jig just like this. So I'm just clamping it down with a quick grip here, and that's the actual jig there. And basically students just hold it and then push down with the other hand, obviously wearing glasses, and they want to try and see how far they can push it with it springing back to the state that it was. So you'll see this will bend a little bit before I have to push too far. I think it'll break. Sometimes you obviously have to break it to get to that point, and then they write down however far they got. So different materials, obviously different results, which is what we want I want my kids to do, basically get a hands-on experience in understanding like what works and what doesn't. So this is good. It works for a whole bunch of different materials. I used to do polystyrene, and that was a good one as well, because the kids didn't really have a good idea of what exactly to do. So yeah, cool. On to the next one. The last and final test. This is the joining test. So basically I put all the materials on the table, newspaper or whatever, string, and just let them go at it. Ideally they have a design when they're doing this, or something in mind, like an idea, maybe like a parachute or something like that. And then they can come here and like figure out exactly how they're going to be able to put it together, because that might affect their design, might be a bit of to and fro. So one way that I've used in the past is a lot of kids, they just go straight for the hot glue gun all the time, but you can use a nail punch and a hammer to punch holes in stuff like balsa wood, cardboard, and then tie string. That way the weights will remain about the same depending on how intricate their design is. But yeah, this test is a bit open-ended. They need to have some kind of idea really before they get here, but yeah, it's definitely one worth doing. Some students, you might get it out of them that they want to build like they want to build a parachute type thing or whatever. So you can ask them how they'll try and support the paper. So if they've got paper, you know, how are they going to attach it on? How's it going to work? What's supposed to happen? And then you can ask them to see how they might build a frame out of something like balsa wood, for instance, or whatever you're using that's appropriate, cardboard. How you're going to join different materials together, especially not like, it's easy enough to sort of lay them on like that, but I mean try and put them together like this and just see how it goes. Yeah, particularly what the materials and the techniques that they're actually going to be using.